Hey, how's it going? Jake here. Before we get started, I just wanted to say, according to my analytics, 88% of you are not subscribed yet. So hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and help me build the awesomest tech community out there. Also, I see that 30% of my viewers are from India. Just wanted to say, thank you so much for watching. I'm just some bald guy from Texas on the interwebs. You guys rock. Okay, take a moment to consider this. A bunch of products, all in the same line, but ranging in performance and hardware, from low end of like $300 all the way to the $1,000 to $2,000 range, but all running the exact same software. And any change to that software affects all the devices from the lowest range all the way to the highest range. Seems kind of odd, right? You've probably already guessed what I'm going for here, and you're probably right, unless you're not. If you haven't yet already checked out my previous video on the bond between hardware and software, go check that out. It's kind of like a part 1 to this video. I'll link it below for you. The iPad Pro is such a phenomenal machine, and even those of us who love using it as our main device know that it's limited by software. Everyone knows it. Even Adam and frickin' Eve. But have we ever tried to come up with a solution for it? We're wanting iPad Pros in particular to include software that would match the level of hardware that's in the Pros, making the one-sided relationship that I talked about in my last video a lot more even. But we're only considering the Pros. If you think about it, the lower end iPad 8th gen is running the exact same OS as my $1,200 iPad Pro with M1, Thunderbolt, 8 gigs of RAM, mini LED, 12.9-inch screen, laptop replacing keyboard and trackpad setup with the Apple Pencil. That just doesn't seem right? iPadOS 14 and 15 are perfect for the lower end iPads, even the mini, and possibly the Air, but that's for later. The hardware matches the software, and if Apple were to put macOS or something that entirely used up all the hardware capabilities of the new M1 Pros, they would most likely have to add that to all the other iPad models that don't have the hardware to support that kind of software. Therefore, Apple is limiting the iPad Pro by catering to the lower grade models, and there's just nothing they can do about it. Or is there? My mom has the 8th gen iPad. It ships with the A12 Bionic, a Lightning port, 3 gigs of RAM, 10.5-inch screen with a Retina display, and up to 128 gigs of storage. Funnily enough, that runs the exact same software as the iPad Pro 5th gen, with up to 16 gigs of RAM, a 12.9-inch mini freaking LED display, Magic Keyboard and Pencil, up to 2 terabytes of storage, aka 2,000 gigabytes of storage. Once more, that just doesn't seem fair. The hardware and software on the 8th gen iPad matches its software perfect, and same goes for its little bro, the Mini. The redesigned Air is kind of teetering in the middle, but that's okay. But it just seems dumb to me that all the iPads, that the iPad of all iPads, the tablet of all tablets, is running the exact same software as the crappy peasant iPad. Now, enter iPad Pro OS, or even just Pro OS. This doesn't just work for the iPads. The MacBook Pro and Air run the same OS that the $50,000 cheese grater Mac Pro Apple sells runs, but I'm an iPad kind of guy, so we're just gonna stick with that. Imagine an OS that takes full advantage of the hardware in the iPad Pros, where apps can take full advantage of the RAM, whether that means Pro-specific apps or just limited versions of apps to work on non-Pro iPads, where the Thunderbolt port can have its full uses realized, file transferring and for saving to external SSDs, or for it to be used to dock the iPad to an external display and use it as an extension and have multiple displays at up to 6K resolution. Maybe even have a desktop mode. For example, my father-in-law has this type of setup in his office, which is his garage, which is also his man cave and slice of heaven. He has 4 external displays, and his Dell laptop is connected via USB-C, and it's just docked there. He has an external keyboard and mouse, and that whole setup is connected to external speakers and everything. So that's 5 displays, including the laptop's own display. Imagine a world where the iPad is docked to a dock via the Thunderbolt port, and it connects via AirPlay or cable to 1 to 3 or 4 monitors, and you can use a Magic Keyboard and trackpad to navigate, or a Bluetooth variant, making the iPad Pro more than just a 2-in-1, but also a 3-in-1. It's a tablet, a laptop, and a desktop, all in one, but with extra hardware, such as the Magic Keyboard. You know what I mean. I'm just geeking out here, but what if Apple could sell an all-in-one package with the iPad Pro, Apple Pencil, Magic Keyboard, the external Magic Keyboard and Magic Trackpad that come with, the MacBooks or the Macs, with this iPad Pro OS already installed? That'd be so cool. Another thing would be something to take full advantage of the screen the iPad already has, with a more functional and intuitive multi-window use. I've seen a lot of others say that Apple is just relying on third-party software, but with iPad Pro, in the current software state that it's in, I think Apple is limiting those third-party software developers. Maybe on an iPad Pro OS, the developers can just go all out, making these iPad Pros so much more than they are now. These devices are capable of so much more. Now, we just need Apple to make a software that matches its capabilities of the hardware. And that's not macOS. I switched from Mac to iPad, partly because I don't like the complexity of macOS. I love the simplicity, yet power of my iPad Pro. And that seems to be what Apple is known for, making things better than everyone else, but still making them shiny and simple. So, I'm not saying to just bring macOS to the pros, but essentially bring a Pro OS to the pros. Whether that's a tabletized version of macOS where it works fine for tablets, where Apple just kind of reskins macOS to fit the iPad Pro, or an entirely new software to, again, in what a novel freaking concept, take advantage of the hardware. The layout of the iPad Pro in iPadOS 14 and 15 is fine. It's just an iOS-ified version of a tablet display, and you can keep that look, but add more functionality to it. Allow us to have a desktop-like experience on our home screen, not just through a widget. Or maybe through a freaking interactive widget. I'm saying freaking a lot in this video. Not just a widget that opens the app, but like a full screen or almost full screen widget for files, and maybe like it uses Siri or machine learning to figure out the ideal files to show depending on where it is and where you are or what you're doing on your iPad or iPhone. And there are so many more things that we could all come up with that we could just give Apple. Like, I feel like a kid giving my parents my super long, intricate Christmas list, only to wake up Christmas morning and to have all the wrong versions of everything I wanted under the tree. You hate to see it. Please, Daddy Tim Cook, save us. Give us what we want. Well, that's all for me. I'm Jake. This is Shot on My Phone.